Good morning. I am Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time today talking to you about you and your business. We do that every day on the program. I got great guests to help me do that. Chris Corso, he's a regular contributor on The Price of Business, really bringing some timely topics on important issues to each and every program, with today being no exception. Chris has offices in Arizona and recently in Houston, Texas. Chris, before we get started on our topic today, I do want to mention your website. Why don't you give that to us real quickly? I believe it's Corso, C-O-R-S-O, lawgroup.com, correct?
Yes, Kevin, and I hope you all had a great holiday and your listeners. But yes, it's Corso at corsolawgroup.com.
Yep. And your kind of give us an overview of the practice itself.
Well, we're a practice that, as you say, started in Arizona, and we're in Houston also. And, we handle a lot of DWI, a lot of felony. I handle some, felony gun weapon charges, which is, lead into what we're going to be talking about today. We handle things, as I say before, a lot different. I have a little saying, find your voice is what I tell everyone, my people, and to find our clients' voice, find their frequency. And you can't, you have to do that. If you're going to stand up for people, you have to be able to know them, know their family, want to help them, and things like that, rather than just have the old, hey, sit down, shut up, we're your lawyer. So we listen to our clients. That's the big thing. Listen to your
got to figure out exactly what the client's hopes are, what their objectives are going into something, and their willingness and flexibility. Sometimes pleading guilty is in their own interest.
Yeah, and look, they have something to say, and they want to be heard. And a lot of times when you're representing people, if you just take the time to listen to what they have to say, you can find a lot of defenses, a lot of things wrong with what the government's doing, just in what your clients are telling you. So, sometimes they have to take penalties. Sometimes it's more about just minimizing the damage. But if you don't listen to them and you don't get to know them and care about what happens, you really can't help anybody.
Yeah. A couple of weeks ago, we had a really robust conversation about gun control related issues in general. And you brought up some interesting, or actually about gun rights, rather, in general. And you and I were chatting since then about the fact that, in light of the fact, though, because of the freedom that we enjoy when it comes to guns, we also have some crime that's related to it. Although it's interesting to note that the most crime-ridden gun-related violence are in cities with the toughest gun control laws, Chicago being a perfect example. But, it does raise questions about what our rights are in protecting ourselves, in a violent culture, be it guns, knives, or whatever we're attacked about. Kind of give us an overview of what the numbers are like when it comes to violent crime and guns related in our country.
Well, yeah, and Friday we talked a little bit about this. This Friday, actually, the open carry law goes into effect. So it's pretty timely what we're talking about today. We have a significant amount of gun-related deaths, including mass shootings, and that's the thing that's really starting this whole discussion around the country is the mass shootings. There's a violent crime that takes place every 2 weeks, roughly. So there's 20 to which involves a gun, which involves weapons, and that's a. And we talk about the mass shootings and popular and not popular, but well publicized. 20 to 30% of the increase is inspired by the previous attacks. So things that have happened in the past, different campuses and things like that. People will look at that, and then you're going to see repeat. So there's a triple the number of mass shootings since 2011. From 11 to now, you have triple the amount, which is that's staggering, Kevin, don't you think?
No, absolutely. Those are startling statistics, and so these are only in the gun-related areas. There's all other kinds of violent crime being perpetrated with other things, including knives and that type of thing. And so it does raise issues. Immediately, should raise issues about self-protection.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and we're going to talk about that and what you can do. But you look at where we rank globally. That's the other thing too that I really looked at. Said, well, and I have some thoughts as to why, but when you compare us to, say, Canada, Australia, places like that, France, Americans are 10 times more likely to be killed by a gun, than in those other places. And we have the most guns per capita. Out of out of 100 people, roughly 90 of us have guns. So
wait a minute, you're telling me 90% of the U.S. population has guns?
Well, that's what I'm. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm seeing.
I think that the reality is that if you distributed all the guns to, like, for example, the one guy who owns 20 guns, if you dispersed his guns towards everyone, that would be the ratio. You know what I'm saying? I doubt 90%.
Yeah, it is. It's a little skewed because, people have multiple guns. You're right. But
yeah.
You know what, Kevin? If you give them to everybody, it's an even playing field now,
Well, yeah.
So,
well, what's interesting is that there's lower crime rates in towns or areas that have more guns. That's the interesting thing. And it's interesting to see that in the last 8 years under this current administration, gun sales have exploded. And in the areas where they've exploded, violent crime has actually dropped. And so, again, there's a lot of different factors that are involved in. But, again, also, with so many guns out there, people have got to think in terms of self-protection, and right. People have got to figure out what that looks like and what is legal, what the legal parameters are about that. And we've got about 4 minutes left.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, Texas is not ranked in the country, with one of the most violent gun violence. You're talking Alaska's number one and Louisiana's number two. Alaska surprised me, but anyway,
that
as
does
far
surprise
as
me.
what you can do, look, the bottom line is this, if you feel that your safety is being put in danger and you feel like you're in imminent danger, it's going to happen. You're going to be, either you're going to, for your life or for your serious injury, you have the right to use force. In Texas, you do. But it can't be for verbal, somebody's yelling at you and saying even ridiculous provocation, racial slurs, things like that. You're not going to be able to use force like that in a gun. But if you feel like you're being in danger and your life is in danger, you can use force, and you can use deadly force. Now understand, to everybody out there, I'm not giving any legal advice at this moment on things to go out there and do. But in general, that's what we're talking about, Kevin. So I mean, it allows you, we have our rights. We have the right to have a gun and carry a weapon like that. And we have a right to use it and protect ourselves. That hasn't changed, and it shouldn't change. And I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah. No, as far as gun ownership?
Yeah, I mean, to have it, and we have the right to have it, and we have the right to use it if we're presented in a situation where our life is in jeopardy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have this culture, I think you've talked about it so often, of too much dependence on the authorities to take care of us, like we're pets. And that just simply doesn't work. In Detroit, the average 911 call response time is 25 minutes. Well, let me tell you, not only is the person dead, the victim dead, the person who did the killing could be in Canada by then. And this is a situation where we have got to take care of ourselves. What's interesting is the police chief in Detroit has noted that now 1 out of 20 Detroiters own guns and have a carry license, and as a result, violent crime has dropped 38%. So I'm totally with you on that, Chris. People have got to protect themselves.
Yeah, and Texas is on the way because we're, as I said, we're not. There's not the most gun violence in Texas, and now with the open carry law, I agree. I think it's going to drop. I do, But, the one thing I wanted to say real quick, and we were talking about numbers to go back, we talked about more than 30,000 people are killed by guns across this country every year. Just to put it in perspective, 610,000 people die from heart disease a year. So, while there are a lot, while the numbers, I mean, we're just talking about numbers. This has nothing to do with our feeling about anybody to die from a gun violence or have any violence against them. But there are other things that are happening, in our country that are killing many, many more people. But I agree. I mean, the more you're able to display, people understand, hey, you have a gun with you. I think, in my opinion, the less likely it is that something's going to happen. But yeah, you do, and there's some good websites for the Texas self-defense statutes. But you got a right. You have a right to protect yourself. You just got to be educated about it, Kevin. That, don't you think? I mean, that's important.
Absolutely. What are a couple of just thoughts or principles when it comes to making sure that you're, not being foolish in quote protecting yourself?
Well, if you're gonna have a gun like this, first of all, and I think this is across the board, you have to, understand what you're having, understand, what some of the safety measures to take so that there aren't accidents. That's number one. But for me, the first, it starts with educating yourself. Understand before you walk into a situation what your rights are, what you should and shouldn't be doing, what another person can be doing. You just have to calm down, be careful. You have a gun or different, weapon, but we're talking about guns today. You have a gun, somebody approaches you, they're face-to-face, or sometimes not even. They're on your property. They pull out some sort of a weapon. You feel in danger. Yeah, you have the right to use it, but you should be educated on how to use it, when, why, and so on. And so, to me, that's something that we should always be allowed to do. I mean, you're not going to have somebody walk into your house and, shoot you or your family or hurt you or, even kill you, without you having to be able to protect yourself. And as I said, I feel like that's the reason why you talked about Detroit. That's why I think that these numbers are going down.
Yeah.
Because people understand today. People now understand that they're going to go out and commit a crime, and they're going to go do something like that. Because a lot of things today, a lot of things that happen, are thought out. It's not always such a reactionary thing anymore where people are committing offenses. Some things are thought out, and especially home invasions and things like that. So.
Very good. Chris Corso, Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. By the way, this interview will be found over at usdailyreview.com, as all of our best interviews are, and, of course, at priceofbusiness.com. Thanks so much for being with us.
Kevin, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Happy New Year. More for you after this on The Price of Business.